அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Let me welcome all of you to the great event aiming a journey together in introducing Thirukkural as a universal literature to UNESCO. International Thirukkural Foundation, Mauritius, and the Tamil Valarchi Mandram in 2019 jointly organized a very successful International Thirukkural Conference in Sydney in association with Sydney University with an underpinning theme, Thirukkural and Peace and Harmony. In 2020, during the pandemic period, we were able to host an online conference themed Thirukkural and Multiculturalism in association with SRM University. These conferences have increased the confidence of Dr. Armugam Parasuraman and his team to host monthly events to further strengthen the evidences to take Thirukkural to UNESCO as universal literature. Dr. Armugam Parasuraman has initiated the first online Thirukkural and UNESCO series on Thiruvalluvar Day in 2021, inviting Honorable Justice Mahadevan as our guest speaker. Thirukkural is a literature which holds the recordings of the human values, spirit, and thus has universal appeal. The conference will unleash the potential of the ancient literature Thirukkural as a book of the world which perfectly suits the modern lifestyle and will expose its universal values at world level. The purpose of these conferences is to identify the role and value of Thirukkural in promoting universality, understand the importance of Thirukkural as a universal literature, creation of action plan to encourage learning Thirukkural among the next generation, to celebrate and promote Thirukkural and Thiruvalluvar, to take Thirukkural as universal literature to the UNESCO. Involvement in upholding this great cause will include a high-level intellectual involvement, engage the next generation, following up action plans, partnership for following up initiatives. This sparked many other eminent scholars from various parts of the world to join hands with us, making this signature event an International Thirukkural Foundation's main area of interest, with series of eminent scholars presenting various aspects of Thirukkural. Their series are conducted on monthly basis, inviting distinguished scholars to share their knowledge and expertise to highlight the universality of Thirukkural. The organizers are mainly Dr. Arumugam Parasuraman, President of the International Thirukkural Foundation, Dr. Chandrika Subramanian, which is myself, founder of Tamil Valarchi Mandram, Australia, Mr. C. Rajendran, founder, coordinator, Voice of Valluvar Family, Chennai, Mr. Parthasarathi of Valai Tamil. With this note, I would also like to thank the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Muthuvel Karunanidhi Stalin, and Minister for Tamil Official Language and Culture, Thangam Tennarasu, along with Thevaram, Tiruvasagam, Divya Prabandham classes in temples. Classes for Thirukkural would be conducted, said the minister. The government would allocate around 2 crore rupees for taking Thirukkural to the youth and 1 crore rupee for opening an institution to propagate Tamil along the Tamil diaspora, he said. At the end of the forum, we will present the salient features of the projects of Tamil Development Board of Tamil Nadu, just to highlight what has been done so far with the new government. With this, may I now ask Mr. Parasuraman to take over to introduce our chief guest.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrika. Thank you for your introduction and also to the International Conference series, but also to this new initiative from the government of Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister and the Minister of Tamil Development, for the further promotion of Thirukkural. I think this augurs well for our mission of bringing Thirukkural to the world. Let me, first of all, thank all the participants to this. I think this is the 10th conference we are having. So from January to date, we are running the 10th International Conference on Thirukkural and UNESCO for World Peace and Harmony. And I would like to thank all the previous speakers. And today we have another distinguished speaker, very, very humble and very modest, because it was difficult for me to extract from him what is his profile. He simply said, on the invitation, you put Mr. Kumar Punithavel, Canada. That's all. That's all was he wanted to put. Although he has an impressive CV, and I would briefly talk on that. But before that, I'll come back to that. Before that, I think as Dr. Chandrika mentioned, the series of international conferences we are organizing in view of the COVID situation, in addition to the previous international conferences we organize in various parts of the world, and with the final objective of going to UNESCO Paris for the global conference on Thirukkural, UNESCO for World Peace and Harmony. Since January this year, we've started a series of monthly conferences. And that I think has been going very well so far. And we look forward to keeping the momentum so that when the situation is cleared, when COVID restriction will be over, then we'll plan with a lot of serenity, but with a lot of good preparation, the holding of the global conference at UNESCO Paris, where we want to complete the mission and take Thirukkural to the world. So in that context, I must say the initiative of the government of Tamil Nadu to promote Thirukkural in different ways, I think will support that momentum that we are building up. And we look forward to the full support of the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, the Minister of Tamil Development, and what Dr. Chandrika announced as part of the Tamil Development Ministry initiative regarding a number of new measures taken to promote Thirukkural. All that will give us the opportunity to advocate further. And as I must say also that we are looking forward very much seeing the Chief Minister, Excellency Mr. Honorable Stalin. I'm sure he will consolidate further the rich heritage and that his late father, Dr. Karunanidhi, did with regards to promotion of Thirukkural in Tamil Nadu, but also globally. So we are looking very much forward to the active involvement, the active participation of the Tamil Nadu government. And along with that, we are also looking forward to the full support of central government of Tamil Nadu, of the central government of India. We are looking forward to the full involvement of the Prime Minister, who doesn't miss an opportunity to refer to Thirukkural on all his international speeches. So we hope that together the two central and state government will join together to bring Thirukkural, give it its due place in the world as a universal scripture. And today, the topic, as you know, is very, very relevant to this mission, because today we are going to listen to a son or a Canadian now, and who will tell us how a Canadian-born great scholar, G.U. Pope, how he contributed tremendously. He made the major breakthrough to take Thirukkural to the world, to the West, but to the world also. So I believe we are very pleased to have this conference with the topic, which is, as you know, the contribution, which is the contribution of G.U. Pope, Reverend G.U. Pope, to the to the universality of the Thirukkural. And this is what we are all advocating for. Many distinguished personalities in the world have already, given their appreciation for the Thirukkural. They have declared it as universal literature. And G.U. Pope was the person who started this campaign, this promotion. And we are therefore very honored, very pleased that Mr. Kumar Punithavel is honoring a Canadian and is going to talk to us about how G.U. Pope himself, with his very keen commitment to Tamil language, his keen interest and high value he attributed to Thirukkural and Thiruvaruvul, how he made that contribution. I'm sure all of us are impatiently waiting to listen from Mr. Kumar Punithavel, and also he will also talk to us about the celebration of the 200 bicentenary of GU, Reverend GU Pope, the first one to translate Thirukkural in English. Now, before I invite him to address, let me tell you briefly about Mr. Kumar Punithavel. Well, what he has shared with me, what I could get from him, he's an engineer, he's an irrigation engineer from Ceylon, later served in Nigeria, came to Canada as a refugee, and he has written a book for his grandchildren. The book is entitled Story of a Refugee. That I would recommend you to read that book. We'll share that with all of you so that you can get more information about him, about what's the life story, which should be very inspiring, I'm sure. And now he's a proud Canadian. He had authored many books in English, one of which is Morals from Thirukkural. He had also participated previously in 2 international conferences on Thirukkural, one in South India and the other Leeds, England. In Canada, he participated in many philanthropic activities and obtained many awards and certificates. And as I said, the wonderful reading we'll have, very insightful reading we'll have, will be to read his publication on the story of a refugee. I would therefore, without further ado, and one thing which I like, when he signs, he has a wonderful quotation from Muhammad Ali. He said, "Service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth." I think that's a wonderful quotation, which would remind us that we are on earth as, as a tenant. We are not the landlord. Landlord is the supreme, and we have to go back, leave that place sometime. So, Mr. Kumar Punithavel, it's my privilege now to invite you to deliver your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much indeed for those kind words. When I want to start, when I say good day, everyone, I was a bit finding it difficult. You know why? Normally we say good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it is. But here I have to say good day, because while I'm celebrating the early morning, lovely morning in Canada, there are people in Sydney almost ready to pull their blanket over. So it has brought us all from everywhere as a family. Actually, it has made a reality. The famous word of Kanyan Pungudanar, Yadum Ure, Yavarum Kurlir, humanity my kin, world is my hamlet. Yes, indeed, we have become a global citizens. As I proceed with why I selected this topic is, the host, the Thirukkural and UNESCO World Peace, for World Peace, the motto for that has been mentioned by Reverend GU Pope more than 100 years ago, which I will show it to you in the book Thirukkural. He has said in Thirukkural that it is going to be the cleansing water of the world. So it is very relevant for us to celebrate him. But today, my title is Contribution of Reverend UG Pope Making Thirukkural Universal. He was born in a nice, lovely island, Prince Edward Island in Canada, at a very, very young age, around 4 or 5. Actually, if you go into their roots, he may be from Irish, but he was born in Canada. And then his parents moved back to England when he was around 4. While in England, before he started his career itself, he started learning Tamil. That is how I will show you how he was able to do so much wonders. Apart from about 12 books he wrote, Three of them are really landmarks. First is Thirukkural, then Naladiyar, and last but not least, Tiruvasagam. These three translations are unique in the history of this world. Now, whenever we talk about our greatness and grandeur, it makes no sense for us to praise it among ourselves. It was well put by Paradiyar. திறமான புலமையனில் வெளிநாட்டார் அதை வணக்கம் செய்தல் வேண்டும். If it is a great literature, the foreigners, other country people should praise them. But the same idea was expressed subtly in Kural number 426. எவ்வதுரைவது உலகம் உலகத்தோடு அவ்வது உறைவது அறிவு. If it is real knowledge, the whole world must accept. Simple thing like Newton's laws, the whole world accepts. Likewise, if it is a real great literature, it must be accepted by the whole world, not just by a particular community. Look at it like this. Take the case of Mahabharata, written in Sanskrit. I had no clue on that language. Thank God Villiputturar decided to translate it to Tamil, Villiputturar Bharatam. Of course, then I started enjoying Bharata. Then Kambar Ramayana. If not for Kambar, I wouldn't have enjoyed the great epic. Similarly, Nalavanba. If not for Poland, we almost think Nalavanba is a Tamil book. No, it's a translation. If it is properly done, it makes worthwhile and useful to the whole world. Thirukkural is one such book. And here we find this great Canadian took the trouble to translate and appreciate and respect that great book. The great Canadian was born more than 2 centuries ago on the 24th April 1820. So last year, April, he would have been 200 in Prince Edward Island, Canada. His family migrated to England when he was very young. In 1839, at the young age of 19, he joined the missionary service and moved from England to South India. Now, his trip from England to South India was a very long one. Wright brothers have not discovered the plains. Then the Suez Canal was not cut. So he had to start from England, go round Africa and come to India. But once he decided he's going to be in South India, he started studying Tamil. Even while in the ship, there is record to say he was studying Tamil in preparation for his services in India. He was not just a scholar in Tamil. He had been teaching Latin, English, Hebrew, mathematics, philosophy, all these subjects in India. And on top of it, he had studied the two South Indian languages, Tamil and Telugu in detail, and also to some extent the Sanskrit language of the North. This made him more equipped to do the translation of Thirukkural. In 1841, he was ordained as a priest by the Church of England, and he married Mary Carver, who was the daughter of an Anglican priest. Together, they served in Tirunelveli region. Unfortunately, she died very, very young, little after marriage. Those days, the life expectancy was very, very low. I actually Googled and found during Shakespeare's time, who wrote 7 Stages of Man, the average life expectancy was 40. If you Google today, it'll say in Canada, the life expectancy is more than 80. But poor lady, she died extremely very, very young, little after the marriage. Probably those days, childbirth deaths are very common. Then again, in 1845, he took Mary of Thoothukudi, and he started living with Henita Page, daughter of G. Van Summerin. This marriage lasted. They had 3 children. Now, Walluvar says, தக்கார் தகவலர் என்பது அவரவர் எச்சத்தாட்டு காணப்படும். Whatever we lift back is what we are judged from. Now, look at his children. His first son, John V. Pope, became director of public institution in Burma. His second son, Lieutenant Colonel T.H. Pope, was the head of the ophthalmic hospital in Madras. The third son, A.W.U. Pope, ended as general manager of the Imperial Railways of China, a post he held to the last. So, as a family man, he developed 3 great children. They were all great. If we produce our children to a higher level than us, then their children will be better than them. So, that, and Walluvar again says, it's always the pleasure of a parent to see that their children excels than them. And in this way, Pope has succeeded in his life. In 1851, Reverend Pope returned to India. After the marriage, little after the marriage, he went back to England for a short spell of time. But he couldn't stay there. He came back again. 40 years of his life was spent in India. So he came back to South India and started his life again there in Tanjavur. While teaching at St. Peter's School, he frequently found himself conflict with other missionaries at the school. Bishop Caldwell, who served South India for half a century, noted that the chief drawback to his success was the severity of his discipline. He's a very strict disciplinarian. He had been very strict, which led, after successive petty rebellions, to his withdrawal. He will try to correct the person again and again. Finally, when he can't, okay, do whatever you want, and he got out. That was the type of a personality he was. For him, character was the strongest point. In 1881, after serving in Tamil Nadu for 30 years, Reverend Pope India and returned to Oxford, England, where he made a mark as a lecturer in Tamil and Telugu. On September 1st, 1886, at the age of 66, he translated and published the Thirukkural, which he retitled as the Sacred Kural. This publication, now before him, there have been a lot of translation done. Some or other, the translator left out a whole section. They talk about virtue, they talk about valor, but they were talk about pleasure. They kept out, they had aram, they had porul, but they kept inbam out, thinking, oh, that's not good for us. But Pope was able to say, no, that's part of life. That is life also. So he translated the whole book and he renamed it as Sacred Kural. And in his translation, he had F.W. Ellis translation and also the Latin translation of Father Becci. Incidentally, Father Becci, which loosely translated, called as Virama Munivar, because he used to wear saffron cloth and be a priest. He adapted to the environment. With a saffron cloth, he continued to be a priest and he was called Virama Munivar. So he added that into his book, in his translation, so that this translation not only had Pope's translation, it had F.G. Wells and also Latin translation of Father Beshi. Incidentally, F.W. Ellis was the first scholar to classify Dravidian language as a separate family of languages and called Tamil as the mother of all those languages. So this is how he happened to have this translation into it. Now, another important thing we should notice is he not only just translated, his complete translation, if you go and look at it, the Sacred Quran has glossary, all the explanations, everything, so that it is a very comprehensive volume at that time. Now, in the Sacred Quran's introduction by Reverend Pope, he says, their English friends in teaching them all that the West has to import will find little to unteach in the moral lessons of Quran rightly understood. If you properly understand Quran, you will find we are the beacon on which they should follow, not the other way around. Pope truly understood the high moral values of Tamilian race, which was molded by books such as Thirukkural. The translation of Thirukkural had marked impact on the whole world. The world famous Russian author Leo Tolstoy happened to be a pen friend of Gandhi. At that time, he was Mohanlal Gandhi lawyer. He was also going in the same path as Subhash Chandra Bose, ready to fight with the British Empire. But he wrote to his pen friend very kindly, this is the book, you can always get it in the market, Letter to a Hindu. That's the title of the book, in which he goes on to explain to him, fighting, violence does not clean violence. You don't fight to get rid of fighting. So Tolstoy, he had actually read the German translation by Karl Gruel, who Tolstoy had read the German translation and was greatly drawn towards it. Tolstoy book titled A Letter to a Hindu, he mentioned Thirukkural to his pen pal Mahatma Gandhi, advising and advocating the latter about the nonviolence movement, which in turn influenced Gandhi to adopt the path of nonviolence. Tolstoy profusely quote from chapter 34. The chapter 34 is Inna Seyyamai, non-violence. Especially he referred to the Quran number 314, which states, Inna Seydara Yoruttal Avarnana Nannayam Seydivida. Doing good turns put them to shame, thus chide the evil who do harm. Now look at it like this. 2000 years ago, here is a person who says, you hit back somebody who does wrong to you. He didn't say forgive, you punish him by making him feel ashamed, not out of pain, but his own conscience. Valluvar always believed everybody has a good conscience. He never said forgive them. He said punish them. Punish them so that they feel ashamed of what they have done. That is the best form of punishment you can give. Once he realizes what he did was unfair, he is not going to repeat it. But out of fear, if you don't do it, then later, when the fear is off, you start doing it again. So here is a very good Qural to go by. Inna Saidara Yoruttal, punishing who had done a wrong. Avarnana, make them feel ashamed, do good, so that they will not do wrong again. Now, this Quran's 34th chapter influenced Gandhi's thought. While in prison also he read Thirukkural profusely. And this made him to say, this in turn motivated Mahatma Gandhi to read Reverend U.G. Pope's Thirukkural translation. And he was so influenced by its teaching that at a later instance, he noted that the maxims of Valluvar have touched my soul. Young Gandhi's soul was matured by Thirukkural. Whether people accept it or not, if not for Thirukkural, we would have had a rough fight with the ruling people. And here Thirukkural melodized him and he became a better person to live by. Young Gandhi's change of heart would not have happened if not for his pen friend Leo Tolstoy introducing him to Thirukkural. That is why I say it is very relevant. And had he got a useless translation of Thirukkural to English, we wouldn't have had this good India as a power gain. So Thirukkural's translation had made a wonderful change in the heart of this. The success of Thirukkural was followed by after doing Thirukkural, people liked it and he enjoyed it. So he continued with in 1893. In the introduction, he translated Naladiyar. Now, Naladiyar is a quatrain with 4 lines and about 400 verses, quatrains. And in that, he writes, I am not without a hope and belief that such editions of their great classics may find favor with some, at least, of great multitude of young Tamil men who pursue with enthusiasm and fair success their English studies. But I apprehend in some danger, alas, of neglecting their own wonderful language. It is very true. I'll tell you a good example. And please believe me, I checked in Google and found it. That is, as of 13th of June 2020, they have found world has got rid of 9 language per year. Around January 2021, there were 6,500 languages. Unless we foster those languages, they will slowly disappear. And you may wonder, why? Why should we keep this language? If I can talk in English, now I'm talking to you in English. But the G.U. Pope says, this cannot be the case for Tamil language. In Naladiyar translation followed magnum opus, the translation of Tiruvasagam in 1900. He loved Tamil language. In his preface of the translation of Tiruvasagam, he writes, please listen carefully. The speech of a dying people may perhaps be allowed to die, but this cannot be said of the Tamil race. Heaven forbids. Let the Tamilian cease to be ashamed of their vernacular. Such was reverent respect for Tamil. Because if Tamil perishes, all these great works, knowledge, everything would have gone. If there was no Tamil and Thirukkural, we would have had more bloodshed in India. So, indirectly, these good works will make us better people, more successful people. I personally feel these books like Thirukkural must be fostered. Later I will show you where Pope has said why UNESCO and Thirukkural must join hands, but that I'll come to it later. It was I was anxious about the pecuniary aspect of publication. Now, normally people write a book to make some money, but not Reverend Pope. He says he was his publication and making money, and he wrote, I shall not derive any pecuniary profit whatsoever from the book. Those scholars like Max Muller have abundantly enriched as a reward for their Sanskrit studies. Tamil should not bring misfortune to those who study it. What a noble heart he must have had. He says, you translate not to make money. You translate because you love it, you want it to be learned, you want more people to benefit. And that was the attitude Reverend Pope has taken. And of his translation of Thiruvasagam, Reverend Pope had the following to say. Now, when he finished translating, he was very old, at around 80. And he says, I date this on my 80th birthday. I find by reference that my first Tamil lesson was in 1837. That was when he was 17. Actually, he moved to South India when he was 19, but by 17 he has started learning Tamil. This end is, as I suppose, a long life of devotion to Tamil studies. It is not without deep emotion that I thus bring to close my life's literary work. So he himself says, he had done, I am done now. He's tired. He had done wonders. He had done miracles. In 1906, he was awarded much coveted gold medal for Royal Asiatic Society for his lifelong work. This gold medal was given once in 3 years for meritorious service and marked Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria in 1906. Such was the great contribution by this great writer, philosopher. As his last work was scholarly translation of Thiruvasagam, incidentally, people say he has selected very well. People normally say what God said to the humanity was Gita, what man said to the God was Thiruvasagam, what man said to man was Thirukkural. What a noble way of putting it. Thiruvasagam is what yearning of Manikavasar towards the God. Immaterial who he is, but he's yearn for him. So what man said to the God was Thiruvasagam. And in his last works, Trans Thiruvasagam, which published in his 80th birthday, it contains a full introduction and exhaustive notes. He writes in his introduction, because he took a difficult task of translating at such an advanced stage. Very carefully listen to what, in his own words. Some years ago, when this publication was hardly projected, the writer, that is Reverend Pope, was walking with the late Master of Balliol College, Dr. Jowett, in the quadrangle in front of the school. He had been walking with his master. The conversation turned upon the Tamil legends, poetry, philosophy. At length, during a phase of conversation, the master said in a quick way of peculiar to him. Now see, these are both Christian priests. And the senior man says to the other guy, you must print it. A Hindu theology book, he says, you must print it. To it, the natural answer was, that is, he replies, Reverend Pope replies, Master, I have no patent of immortality, and the work will take very long. I can see him now, as he turned round while the moonlight fell upon his white hair and kind face, and laid his hand upon my shoulder, saying, to have a great work in progress is the way to live long. You will live till you finish it. I certainly did not think so then, though the words have often come to my mind as a prophecy encouraging me when weary, and they have been fulfilled while he has passed away. Now look at it very carefully. This priest, one priest said to another, doing a noble thing is the best way to keep long life. Not taking decoctions, not taking aerobic exercises or anything. If you have a noble cause to pursue, that will keep you alive. So we all should take this example, try to look something good and achieve it. And that he has put it very nicely. To have a great work in progress is the way to live long. You will live long till you have a great work in progress. Now, when Reverend Pope began his serious studies of Tamil, someone advised him that poverty was the lot of every Tamil poet and scholar. As you could have seen, ஆற்றுப்படை பாடல்கள், that is, those are all by the poor poets saying how they can reach which king to beg for money. And another learned Tamil scholar has said, it is a part of life. If you are a Tamil scholar, you will be poor. Though Dr. Pope did not suffer from poverty, neither did he enjoy affluence due to his fixation on Tamil. He willingly sacrificed his genius for Tamil. Sadly, he delivered his last sermon in Oxford on May 26, 1907. And after a long and useful life of 88 years, he passed away on February 12, 1908. One of the last requests was to have his tomb decorated with the word student of Tamil. That was one of the small requests he wanted in his will. The service of this great Christian evangelist to Tamil and Saivam defied reckoning by weights and measures. In his last days, he was matured Saiva Siddhanta. When I say this, people may wonder, oh, was he not a Christian? Yes, he was to the last breath. With his faith ever rooted in Lord Jesus and Christianity, he delivered his last sermon on May 26, 1907. It may be of interest that he forwarded a copy of his last sermon preached in Balliol College Chapel on May 26, 1907, and wrote the following forward to in his own handwriting. 26 Walton Bell Road, Oxford, December 25th, 1907. That's a Christmas Day. He writes to his friend, my dear friend, in the heart of this my last sermon, lie truths that harmonize with all that is best in Tiruvasagam and Sivanyana Bodham. I am very old. May the Father bless you and yours. Ever truly your friend, G.U. Pope. That was the man. He was so sure of the goodness of Lord. Whatever form you may pray in, he will be there with you. He wrote to the editor J.M. Nallaswamy Pillai of Siddhanta Deepaka on December 20th, 1900, requesting that after his death, the inscription on his headstone should be a Tamil student, and at least a portion of the cost to erect his headstone should come from donors from wealthy and influential Tamils. Please note, not that he couldn't afford a tombstone, but his heart yearned for his friends to join him, even in his death. I was so much taken up what I saw, I made it a point to go there instead of going on a pilgrimage to this place or that. It was a pilgrimage. I went with a friend of mine. And what I saw there, I just noted down. It says on his tombstone, George Uglow Pope D.D. Pope of South India. Now look at it, of South India. Not in Britain, not in Canada, of South India, sometime lecturer in Tamil and Telugu in the University and chaplain of Balliol College, Oxford, born 24th April 1820, died 11 February 1908. This stone has been placed here by his family and by his friends in South India in loving admiration of his lifelong labors in the cause of Oriental literature and philosophy. Look at it. He, apart from this thing, having inscribed that student of India, but yes, he did they sent money from India for his tombstone. He authored 12 books, some in Tamil, others in English. His most famous 3 books are Thirukkural under the title Sacred Kural of Thiruvallur Nayanar in 1886 during his 66th year. Following this, in 1893, he translated Nalariyar, a book with 400 quatrains. And finally, in 1890, he translated Tiruvasam with text, notes, etc. during his 77th year. Reverend Pope was a man without barriers. No language, land, race, or even religion. Being devout Christian priest to the last breath did not prevent him learning other religions and admiring their truth. He was a true ambassador and advocate of peace among all religions, as mentioned in Thirukkural couplet number 50. வையத்து வாழ்வாங்கு வாழ்பவன் வானுரையும் தெய்வத்துள் வைக்கப்படும். He is a man of divine worth who lives in ideal home on earth. He felt it is more important to live righteous life, for truth is the same in all religions. The great first Canadian Tamil scholar, Reverend G.U. Pope, will be forever remembered by the Tamils around the world. Now I am going to mention about something he wrote in Thirukkural preface. Please note carefully. Here he has put the foundation stone, the cornerstone for our organization, that is Thirukkural and UNESCO for the world peace. Before you all started it, more than 100 years ago, he has laid the foundation for Thirukkural and UNESCO for the world peace. I'll read what he has written. Tamil is a sophisticated, unique language with a rich vocabulary. It is the mother of all South Indian languages. Tamil literature was designed to create high moral standards, ethical codes, and Thirukkural is a great example of that. It is in a land of people with very high ethical codes and who nurture human discipline that such moral books are created and could be created. Thirukkural is as clear as an unpolluted spring. Now see the line here can be the motto of Thirukkural and UNESCO for the world peace. Yes, Thirukkural, the unique book, has come to remove the impurities of the world. More than 100 years ago, he has written this line. Thirukkural, the unique book, has come to remove the impurities of the world. So it has to join hand in hand with UNESCO now to clean the impurities of the world. Isn't the world being blessed? Let us do our part to carry it to the world and thereby allow it to purify the world, as this great Canadian Tamil laureate suggested. Finally, let me follow Thiruvallur's suggestion in the last couplet on the chapter of gratitude in Kural 110. என்னன்றி கொண்டார்க்கும் உய்வுண்டாம் உய்வில்லை செய் நன்றி மறந்த மாற்கு. The virtue killer may be served, not benefit killer who is damned. Canadian Tamil successfully lobbied for her and issue a stamp in honor of Reverend U.G. Pope 200th birth anniversary last year. But its release had to be postponed due to pandemic. The Tamils living in Canada will ensure it is released, celebrated in a great way. Last but not least, before I conclude, as we are going to France very soon to make further move, let me say a place where Valluvar has very clearly explained a lovely picture in France Art Gallery, Leonardo da Vinci's famous Mona Lisa. A lot of people go there and admire that picture. They stand in a long line not the picture of their girlfriend or anybody, but Mona Lisa. And when they go there, there is media argument. She is looking slightly about 3 inches to the right side of my face. She is looking, and she is smiling. She is not. But 2000 years ago, Thiruvallur put it very well in his couplet number 1274. The couplet says, முகமுக்குள் உள்ளது நாற்றம் போல் பேதை நகமுக்குள் உள்ளது ஒன்று. Mona Lisa smile. There is something inside that, in that smile. Like scent in a bud, secrets concealed in the bosom of a budding smile. The Mona Lisa's budding smile, there is a secret that she likes you, she loves you, she praises you. Now, next time when we are celebrating in UNESCO, let's go to that and think of Thiruvallur's Kural number 1274. முகமுக்குள் உள்ளது நாற்றம், பேதை நகைமுக்குள் உள்ளது ஒன்று உண்டு. With that smile, let me thank for the opportunity given to me by Thirukkural and UNESCO for the world peace to speak in this distinguished audience. Thank you very much, one and all. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar Punithavel. That was a very enlightening presentation you made on the contribution of Reverend G.U. Pope to the universality of Thirukkural. I must say you've given us a lot of very, very interesting information that you've been able to gather through your own research. And I'm sure with a lot of pride, because you are now Canadian and you are talking with a lot of pride of the Canadian who was the original, who originated from Canada, Dr. Reverend G.U. Pope. So I think that's, I must say, a very, very interesting contribution you are making. And I'm sure this will be again well received at UNESCO when we have our global conference. I must say that we know that in Oxford University, where Reverend G.U. Pope, when he returned to UK, he was a professor there of Tamil. I think that that's very important. So when we are organizing our conference in Paris at UNESCO, we'll certainly connect with Oxford University and try to get a representative from the university to come and talk about G.U. Pope and Kural at that time. Well, but your contribution is very, very rich and very useful, and certainly it will contribute towards our goal of making Thirukkural the universal literature and getting Thirukkural and UNESCO to work together for world peace. I must also commend you for bringing in the Thiruvallur, an enchanted smile of Mona Lisa. I think since we'll be in Paris, as you rightly said, we'll certainly put on the program a visit to see the old painting of Mona Lisa, and so you can then at least feel what Valluvara had written, about this part in the Thirukkural. So, with these words, I don't intend to take more time. I would like to invite questions or suggestions, from the participants. And before that, allow me to make an important announcement that this month is a bit exceptional. We are at this conference today by Mr. Kumar Punithavel, and the next one will be on the 21st of September. 21st of September is the International Peace Day. And this is a very important event celebrated globally. And while we are advocating, we are working towards and showing how Thirukkural UNESCO can contribute to world peace and harmony. The 21st of September will be an important landmark also, because we will connect Thirukkural and UNESCO on that day with the talk by a very eminent personality in the world. I'm referring to Professor Federico Mayor, whom I had the privilege to know personally as a minister, but also as a staff of UNESCO when he was Director General. And I must say that he was the one who initiated the UNESCO and the UN Cultural Peace Initiative, the Global Cultural Peace Initiative. And he has done a lot of work to promote the culture of peace globally. And I have invited him, and he has agreed to give us a talk on the culture of peace and Thirukkural with reference to the UNESCO mission of building peace in the minds of men. As you know, in the preamble to the Constitution of UNESCO, we have the following quotation, which is, since wars begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. So we are going to have such an eminent speaker on the 21st of September, on the occasion of the International Peace Day, to address this. I must assure you that he did not know about Thiruvalluvar or Thirukkural until a few months ago, when I spoke to him over the phone, explained to him, briefed him, and sent him some materials on Thiruvalluvar and Thirukkural. He has his copy of Thirukkural. I gave him a GU Pope translation. He has also a copy of the judgment given by Justice Mahadevan on Thirukkural, which should be taught in schools, and also a number of quotations or impressions by eminent personalities in the world who have commented on Thiruvalluvar and Thirukkural. After reading all that, I must tell you, he was really very much impressed, and I could feel now that he will give us something wonderful on the 21st of September, and himself being a man of peace, a great advocate for peace globally, and he has set up after retirement his own foundation for peace. So I would invite all of you to be present on the 21st. It's a weekday, right? We had to fit it because the International Peace Day falls on that date, right? So we have to respect that. And you will all get the invitation very soon. It's ready. We'll send it out to you in advance. But kindly invite as many friends as you can, so we can give him the due welcome and recognition for all that he has done to promote peace in the world. The whole notion of cultural peace, which UN endorsed and which celebrated for a decade. So with these words, let me now invite the participants to come with their comments, the questions. And once again, Mr. Punithavel, Mika Nandri, you did a brilliant presentation, and I'm sure you feel the pride of being a Canadian associated with Reverend G.U. Pope. Thank you. I leave the floor open.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. It is great to see you all, especially Professor Parasuraman and Dr. Chandrika. Yes, Punithan Anna is my friend, and also we came together to Liverpool conference, and we did a presentation there. And your speech is very impressive and very inspiring. And we can see from your face that how much you enjoy when you speak about G.U. Pope. It is a great witness your very detailed speech, and congratulations and best wishes to you, your future endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Udayan. Anyone would like to? I would invite you to take this opportunity and say a few words, contribute to this discussion. Yes.
I would like to comment on Mr. Punithavel's presentation. I'm from Canada. Anyways, I'm also in the seniors. And it was a real wonderful speech, I can say. And he has really, really manifested everything about towards Pope. I know that he is really like a well learned, and he did the real history regarding Dr. G.U. Pope, and it was well versed, and it's a useful event today. And the coordination, everything is very good, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Lydia. We'll invite other comments.
Yeah, Punitha, that
Yes.
is, this is Sukumaran from Sydney. We have heard of Pope, but Punitha really put it in context and presented it very beautifully. Thank you very much.
He's my brother-in-law.
Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. You should be very proud of him, all of you.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Like we are proud of him. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? I think feel free,
Yeah.
we have some time. We have not taken too much time for today. So we have some time, 10, 15 minutes. Let's enjoy sharing and also enriching further the discussion, the presentation of today. I always turn to my respected scholar friend, Dr. Ashraf. I always turn to him. So I choose him as a volunteer. And Mr. Rajendran should prepare himself as being next if he's online. Dr. Ashraf, you unmute, please.
Sir, Shivam has already raised his hand. Let him talk first, and I will come back.
No, it's okay, sir. You can proceed. I was just reflecting to ask the speaker why Pope would have called it as a sacred Quran instead of a holy Quran. Is it because he added the third book on love, or because he wanted to sound secular, in those ages itself? I mean, it's really an interesting thought that he can shed light upon.
Thank you. And would you like to comment on this, Mr. Punithavel, and then we'll give the floor to Professor Ashraf?
Well, it so happened. Everything happens for a good reason.
Yeah.
Even if I am to speak here, I believe that I was destined to speak here. So such a person, it's very difficult to answer that question. But I am really, really glad Pope took the trouble. He saved so many gallons of blood shedding in India by making Gandhi to take the non-violent path. If Thiruvallur has not written and Tolstoy has not advised Gandhi, he would have been a big fighter killing so many people. So it all happens for a good reason, and I humbly wish world will admire and follow the teachings of Thiruvallur, because it is non-partisan. First chapter itself about worshipping God, but in that whole book, he didn't use the word Tamil anywhere.
Yeah.
He didn't try to say this God or that God. No, he didn't bother. He wants you to be good. Being good, there are so many couplets I can always point. At one stage, those days, I must tell you, there was Jainism where people pluck their hair for religion. Then Hindus, they grow sadai. So he said, Malithalum venda, nirtalum venda, ulagam alitade olithu vidi. Don't shave, don't grow. And again, Siva Sindamani, I read, it says, if growing hair and jumping into Ganga can make you holy, even the bears jumping into Ganga will become holy. So that is not the more important thing. What is bad, we should get rid of. Cleaning has to be done not outside, within. And even Leo Tolstoy has written a book, Kingdom of Heaven is within you, not outside you. You will find entirely a different view of all that is said in the Western world. He says, Kingdom of Heaven is within you. So when you find, and I always tell, there can be different lies, but there's only one truth. So when you tell the truth, they all collide together. What Thiruvallur said, what Buddha said, what Jesus said, whatever it is, they all come together as one truth. So let's follow the path of truth. Have no affinity toward this or that, but truth. That is the only cardinal rule. Malithalum venda, neetalum venda, ulagam palitthadai olithu vaalvom. And I like that quote Professor also observed, that is, helping others is the serving others is the rent we pay for living in this planet. Try to help people. You don't need to do anything. You do that, and God is in you, within you. So that is how I look at it.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. I think these three Kurals, Inna Saidare Uruthal and then Malithalam Venda, so these will really qualify him to be a truly international poet. And this will give substance for this planned conference. I wish all the best for the conference that is being planned. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ashraf?
Thank you so much. It was a very nice presentation. And G.U. Pope, I thought you would touch on the sort of not the pros and cons of Pope, but in the world, in the community, there are people who don't like Pope because of the fact that he brought down Thirukkural's dating to as low as 800 CE. And at the same time, there are people who like him because of his scholarship. I would like to recollect the past. About 20 days back, Mr. Gopal, an IAS officer in Odisha, had given a presentation, beautiful presentation on contribution of Christian missionaries to Europeans to Tamil literature, where he answered this question. So all the missionaries came to preach their religion. They did not come to learn Tamil. That was their first mission. So that was an allegation. And the speaker said, so also the Jains, so also the Buddhists in Tamil Nadu, so also all the people, Tiruvasagam, your Vaishnavites, Saivites, they all use Tamil to propagate their religious teachings. So we don't think from that aspect. We think that it is our duty to propagate our religion in Tamil. But it's a fact that Christian missionaries came. They, being Europeans, they had a very nice, they were impartial in judging. In fact, I don't know to whom it is attributed. One missionary came and said that I thought these people are Gentiles. Who said they are Gentiles? They have a book called Thirukkural. I can't find out the source, but that was a statement made by one of the Christian missionaries. And he asked earlier question. He asked holy, why it was not holy Thirukkural, why it was called sacred. The word Thiru has got multiple meanings with respect to a person. You're talking Thiru Ashraf, Thiru Gopalan, that is respected. That's the meaning. Another one is sacred. Another one is holy. Thirukkural is not a religious text. Maybe from that, Holy Bible we write, Holy Gita. So I think that is the reason why he chose the words of something between respected and holy. It's a right. Usually when the people say sacred couplets, that is the literal meaning of Thirukkural. That's one. With regard to the speaker today, Mr. Punithan gave a wonderful presentation. I just want to tell one particular Kural which he cited. Evvadu oreivadu ulagam, ulagathodu avvadu oreivadu arivu. The actual meaning of that is be a Roman when you are in Rome. I think you said it's not acceptance by the world. It's something different. I just wanted to point out that. But otherwise, it was a wonderful presentation. Nice to be in touch with you, to hear someone speaking from Canada early in the morning, and people from various parts of the world listening to it. I think you must have had a tough time. What must be the time now?
Oh, it's 8:40, so it's okay.
It's okay. 8:40 is okay. 8:40 is okay.
We
So thank you
start
so
at
much.
7:30.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Nice to hear.
very
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other observation? Any other contribution? I will.
No, sir, I'm here.
Yes.
I mean,
Mr.
my
Rajendran, you
signal
are
is-
there?
yeah, my signal is fine now.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Your
Such a
signal-
wonderful presentation.
Mr. Rajendran, your signal must be fine because your Valluvar behind you. Go ahead. Has to be
I'm
fine.
also in a very sacred place where my guru used to come. It's about 300 kilometers from Chennai. I
Oh.
traveled. I just reached the spot where I spent few days with my guru here under a banyan tree. So it was a wonderful lecture. A lot of things I learned about G.U. Pope today. His translation was the first one, complete one. You rightly pointed out. More than anything, the content was nice, but the presentation was full of involvement. I could see that bubbling enthusiasm in your, in your words. That's what I could feel as I was traveling. Signal was going up and down. Excellent presentation. I must thank you, sir. And only thing is, G.U. Pope, Ashraf is a historian. Always look at the dates. Whatever may be the date, the contribution of G.U. Pope, because whatever the material available to him, a judge passes an order based on the material placed before him. So that particular point of time, whatever the material was before G.U. Pope, that's what he could do that. But whatever he has done is a great service to the Tamil literature. And as he has rightly pointed out, the quotes from G.U. Pope, how high he held Tamil and Tamil literature. That's really excellent, and the world community must understand that this is what Tamil is all about. And when we ourselves talk about all these things, it's of no use. The man who traveled all the way, the man who a well-read man, a man who was teaching in Oxford University, he's the one who said this. That's what makes all the difference. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, and we look forward to travel with you, towards UNESCO. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I will invite Dr. Saraswati Thirumalai Chetty from Mauritius, who wrote a very beautiful comment in the chat section, congratulating Mr. Punithavel, but also saying that Reverend Pope loved Tamil language and Tamil literature. Yourself, Dr. Thirumalai Chetty, as a Tamil lecturer, I would invite you to say a few words. Say it live, please. Benny, are you there? Otherwise, I will ask anyone from Mauritius. We have some participants from Mauritius. So, no one? Okay, thank you very much. We'll continue. Anybody else would like to say a few words before we conclude that part, and then we'll have an announcement about major development taking place in Tamil Nadu with regards to Thirukkural. So, if there is no other,
I would like to say something.
Yes, Mr. Uday.
Yeah, just came into my thoughts, and then it's very, very inspirational. And then you guys are working hard for the noble work that you guys doing it, and basically that right now all over the world, the name of the religious institutions, people fail most likely because all the religion fail, Christianity and Hinduism and other things, because they think that institution has violating so many things for the human rights and other things. Yeah. Especially in Canada, the native people, indigenous people, children have been killed, over 6,000 people in the name of religion, because they have, it's called cultural genocide. So right now, the society becomes secular all over the world. I mean, but when they have a secular society, before the society have been controlled by the moral and ethical value by religious institution. So since people are no longer going to church or mosque or temple, so the secular ethics is a very, very more important for the future generation. So that's why the Thirukkural can play a major role in that aspect, and then bring about like a good society to the world. So in that aspect, your initiative and bringing this text to the UN is very, very imperative, and really thankful for that. Thank you very much for the
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Uday. Let me make an appeal to all the participants who are present today. if any one of you would like to make a presentation in this series of international conferences, please do let us know, right? And so that we can include you on the list of speakers in the future conferences that will be held. We are going to continue with that every month. We have a list of other speakers on the already program, but feel free and do give thought to it and prepare a presentation which you can share with everybody. Let me before I leave the floor to, I think Mr. Rajendran, would you like to say a few words at the end, and with Dr. Chandrika talking about the Tamil Development Program? I will say I have two words to say, and then I will leave the floor to both of you.
I don't know what to do.
There's a very important point. Sorry for barging in.
Yes, come in.
Sorry for barging in.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf.
The person who spoke before, he made a very important point.
Yes.
Very important point. Because this is an era where people are denouncing religions, especially at least in the European countries and maybe in the West. So people are looking forward to an ethical literature which is not religiously inclined. So in that sense, Thirukkural has a future. This is a very important point. I think we need to write down in our reports or publications or presentations to UNESCO. If you are looking for a non-religious text as a moral code,
Absolutely.
then we have Thirukkural.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf.
Yeah.
I would let me complete my comment on the presentation by drawing attention to what Mr. Punithavel said in his talk, and this comes from Reverend G.U. Pope himself. The appeal he made, I think this Reverend Pope can be recognized as a true and devout Tamil, because what he said in his introduction for the book, The Translation on Aladir, in 1893, I'll just refer to part of it, whereby he said that, "I'm not without a hope and belief that such edition of the great classic may find favor with some of at least of the great multitude of young Tamil men who pursue with enthusiasm and fair success the English studies, but I apprehend in some danger, alas, of neglecting their own wonderful language." See his appeal. He's concerned about that. And we know with the current world situation, this is gradually happening. And we need all of us to pay heed to that. If we want to pay tribute to G.U. Pope, I believe we have to be ambassadors to promote this, to ensure that they don't neglect. They can take English studies, very good, but they should not neglect the study of Tamil language. And the other point he said, the speech of a dying people may perhaps be allowed to die, but this cannot be said of the Tamil race. Heaven forbids. Let the Tamilians cease to be ashamed of the vernacular. I think this is a very strong, solid and profound message from G.U. Pope, which we have the duty to pay attention to and make sure that this doesn't happen and Tamil continue to flourish. Well, with these words, I would like to conclude by once again inviting you. You'll get the invitation very soon. It's ready for the next conference on the 21st of September by Professor Federico Mayo on the whole notion of cultural peace, UNESCO and Thirukkural. So that will be yet another major conference in the series. With these words, let me now, probably Mr. Rajendran would like to say a few words before Dr. Chandrika would conclude with the announcement. I leave it to you both, you two.
Madam, please go ahead. I think Madam is ready.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Chandrika.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for today's presence and your contribution, commenting on Mr. Punithavel's presentation today. Let me start sharing the screen, which details the Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So the new announcement made by the Tamil Valarchi Matrum Seithithurai, which is the Information and Tamil Development Department of Tamil Nadu government, Honorable Thangam Tennarasu, the Minister for Tamil Development. Let me start talking about the first one. He has announced it, our title called Tira Kadal Thirukkural, where he has allocated 2 crore rupees, which is anybody who does, or there will be programs conducted in relation to Thirukkural. He has allocated 2 crore rupees. And the second one is அயல்நாடு மற்றும் வெளிமாநிலங்களில் தமிழ் மாணவர்களுக்கு தமிழர்களுக்கு தமிழ் கற்பிக்க தமிழ் பரப்புரை கழகம், which is teaching Tamil for a diaspora as well as other states. 1 crore has been allocated. And the third one is பள்ளி மாணவர்களுக்கு தமிழ் மொழி இலக்கிய திறனை வெளிக்காட்டுவதற்கு திறனறி தேர்வு நடத்தி 1500 பேருக்கு ஒருவருக்கு 1500 ரூபாய் வழங்கப்படும், which is 1500 children will be encouraged to learn and specialize in Tamil related activities, talent contest. They will be paid 1500 rupees every year. Then Thirukkural prizes in relation to Thirukkural, who can recite Thirukkural. It has been stopped for some time, some reason, but they are making it an unlimited number of people who can recite Thirukkural. They will be given funding for that such activity, and I think they have already got some funding. They're increasing the amount for that. The fifth one is தமிழ் அறிஞர்களான சிலம்பொலி செல்லப்பன் மற்றும் சிலர் பேர் அவர்களின் நூல்களை எல்லாம் நாட்டுடைமையாக்கப்பட்டு பரிவுத்தொகை வழங்கப்படும். That means the state will be acquiring the books of learned Tamil scholars. Their books will be taken and they duly compensated for their work. Number 6 is சங்க இலக்கிய வாழ்வியல் ஓவியங்களாகவும் எளிய விளக்கத்துடன் காஃபி மேசை புத்தகமாக வெளியிடப்படும் 15 லட்சம் ஒதுக்கீடு செய்யப்படுகின்றது. Sangam literature will be given in the format of paintings and coffee table books, and they have allocated 15 lakhs rupees for that. Number 7 is temples. The temples, with all the scriptures they recite, they will in future they will include Thirukkural, and they will start doing Thirukkural Vahuppugal. They will be doing some Thirukkural teaching in temples, which is a very great attempt. Then the 8th one is தமிழ் அறிஞர்கள் எழுத்தாளர்களின் பிறந்த நாள் அன்று இலக்கிய கூட்டங்கள் நடத்துகிற 15 லட்சம் உதவி, which is 15 lakhs is allocated for celebrating the birthdays of Tamil scholars and Tamil writers on their birthdays. People can conduct literary activities to celebrate their birthdays. Number 9 is புகழ்பெற்ற தலைவர்கள் தமிழறிஞர்களின் ஒளி பொழிவுகள் ஆவணமாக்கப்பட்டு 25 லட்சம் ஒதுக்கீடு செய்யப்படும். There will be 25 lakhs allocation for celebrating digitalized formats of Tamil scholars' speeches for future purposes. So that's one thing. And number 10 is சங்க இலக்கியங்கள் சந்தி பிரிக்கப்பட்டு நூல்களாக அச்சிட்டு குறைந்த விலையில் வெளியிடுவதற்கு 10 லட்சம், which is Sangam literature will be simplified, so ordinary people can read. That will be printed and published for everybody can afford to buy that, which 10 lakhs has been allocated. Number 11, தமிழில் பெயர் எழுதும் போது முன்னெழுத்தை தமிழிலேயே எழுதும் வசதி, which is anybody who wants to write their name in Tamil, they can even write their initials in Tamil. So they are bringing that as one of their rules. வணிக நிறுவனங்களில் வழங்கப்படும் பற்றுச்சீட்டுகள் தமிழிலும் குடியிருப்பு அடுக்கங்களில் வணிக வளாகங்களில் தமிழில் பெயர் சூட்ட ஊக்குவிக்கப்படவும், which is the buildings as well as the commercial organizations, their receipts and stuff that can be in Tamil in future, so they will be encouraged to do so. And number 13, synopsis of Tamil researchers, which is அனைத்து பல்கலைக்கழகங்களிலும் முனைவர் பட்ட ஆய்வு சுரக்கம் மற்றும் தொகுப்புகள் தமிழில் தொகுத்து இணைய கல்வி கழகத்தின் வாயிலாக இணையத்தில் வெளியிடப்படும். That means any research anybody does PhD, that will be people will be able to access that as digital format in இணைய கல்வி, which is the internet related the university they have. 14 is old modern literature, and all the old and modern literature will be formatted into audiobooks and will be created in audiobooks, and 10 lakhs has been allocated for that. Number 15 is encyclopedia, such as dictionary and stuff will be developed, and they have allocated 5 lakhs for that, so that the new words can be coined, and Tamil can have a lot of vocabulary and kind of a base for research and things. Number 16 is 41 Sebiyal Nolgal. These are classical language books, literature books, classical literature from Tolkappiyam to Muttollayram. It will be in one place where people can access, and the government is allocating 10 lakhs rupees for that. Then 17 is நாட்டிற்காக பாடுபட்ட தலைவர்கள் பிறந்த நாள் மாவட்ட அளவில் கல்லூரி மற்றும் பள்ளி மாணவர்களுக்கு பேச்சு போட்டி பாராட்டு சான்றிதழ் 181,60,000 they have allocated. That is national leaders and Tamil leaders, Tamil scholars. The people will be encouraged to conduct competitions for the school and college students so that they can get prizes to celebrate these celebrities. Then 18 is தமிழை பிறமொழியினருக்கு கற்பிக்கும் வகையில் திராவிட மொழிகள் உட்பட பிற மொழிகளில் பாட நூல்களும் பன்மொழி அகராதியுடன் தமிழ் கற்பிக்கும் குறுஞ்செயலிகளும் உருவாக்கப்படும். The government is putting some effort to bring the dictionaries as well as applications, the mobile apps, so that they can, the people who do not know Tamil or the people from other communities' languages can learn Tamil in a proper way. So they have allocated some funding for that. Number 19 is சொற்குவையின் சொற்கள் தமிழ் மின் நூல்கள் அரசு தளங்களில் உள்ளடக்கங்கள் போன்றவை படைப்பாக்க பொது உரிமத்தில் வெளியிடப்படும். The world building exercises and Tamil e-books and some of the rare books will be published as e-books, and it will be available for people to read it, and government will take over the copyright from the writers. And the last one is ஆட்சிச்சொல் அகராதி திருத்திய பதிப்பு மற்றும் அரசு துறைகளின் புதிய கலைச்சொற்கள் தொகுத்து வெளியிடப்படும். That is, the official language dictionary will be compiled, and that will include new words and new phrases so that they can use Tamil as wide as possible in Tamil Nadu. So see, these are some of the new scheme the government of Tamil Nadu has introduced, and we thank as collectively the organizers of this event collectively thank the Tamil Nadu Mudalvar Muka Stalin as well as மாண்புமிகு தங்கம் தென்னரசு அவர்களையும் நாங்கள் நன்றியோடு வரவேற்கின்றோம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrika. That was a very good information which gives us still more support to what we are doing. And let's now make sure that the Tamil Nadu government joins, give us all the support. We are prepared for them to take the lead so we can move together with central government to UNESCO Paris. We are here only to see the mission successful. So I'm doing my best to connect in that direction, and I'm sure all of us who have the right network could certainly contribute to that. So with these words, I think we've reached the end of the conference today, and I believe it's the time for us now to close the meeting. So I look forward to your participation in the next conference on the 21st of September, and as well as future conferences of which you will be aware in due course. So Mika Nandri. And let's all join together in this noble mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.